All right. Good morning, everybody. This is our Experience Secret Saturday, something that we like to do to get together on Saturdays and share some hacks or some hints and helpful tools that have been able to help us in the kitchen and or in lifestyle. My name is Carrie, if we haven't met yet, and this is a group of ladies that are working with us that have had some really great results with our Life by Secret nutrition. And we like to bring this evidence forward to you. And today, we're going to be sharing with you from one of our amazing professionals. She's a blood microscopist, which I'll let her tell you more about what that is. But basically, she's a scientist and she looks at people's blood for a living and she can tell what's good and what's bad and what's ugly going on from the inside just from the cells. And amazing information that she's been able to bring to us and for us about wellness and health and supplementation. And with her vast experience, she can let you know if what you're taking is actually working for you. And I thought that was pretty fascinating. So wouldn't you like to know that the supplements that you're taking are actually doing you some good? And wouldn't you like to know that the food that you eat is actually doing you some good? Right? I mean, for me, look, we're all consumers, right? I go into the grocery store and I see some odd looking things that I didn't grow up with in the produce section. And I don't know what that fruit is for or vegetable is for. And so I glaze over it. Anybody else like that? If you're just kind of ignorant to it, you just keep going and you get the normal stuff you've always bought, right? Well, recently, because of this relationship with Laura, I've learned a lot about superfoods and things that are just very inexpensive but super power packed with nutrition. And those are things that we can actually put into our lifestyle to help our bodies have more vitality. And so I asked her to share, and a few months ago, she did part one of LaLa in the kitchen. And today she's going to do part two or part deux if you're French. I don't know how to say part in French. So healthy kitchen hacks. She's going to bring how we can put superfoods into our body and use them to improve our vitality. And this is super, super near and dear to our hearts because without good health, nothing else matters. And this lady has just been such an impact in so many of our lives, thousands of people across the globe, I'm sure of it. So I want to turn it over to you before I start peppering you with questions. Can you bring us up to speed with what you do and how important it is to recognize good whole supplements? And then you can go into some of the healthy hacks that you've got, and then I'll probably just pop a few questions in. So I'm going to turn it over to you, my friend Laura Belg. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Carrie. It's great to see all your beautiful faces this morning. It's wonderful. Um, so, nutrition, is an integral part of someone's health. And unfortunately, we kind of live in a society that everybody's looking at the carbs or the fat grams or the calories and what have you, and not the actual nutrition of our foods. And that's one of the reasons why a protein shake is so important because you can receive a lot of that nutrition, you know, first thing in your day, and nutrition affects your cellular health. It's like I always, when I start kind of coaching my clients and I go over the blood and that sort of thing, one of the things I talk about is the cilia that surrounds the cell. And no one kind of discusses the cilia when they're discussing cellular health. And it's important to know. And it's something important that I look for around someone's cell. And what will break down a cilia are toxins, but the biggest thing is lack of nutrition. And before I even put the blood up under the microscope, I'm looking at what someone's blood looks on the side on the slides before I ever put it under the microscope because I'm so seasoned with what I do. And when I'm looking at someone's blood on the slide before it ever goes up on the microscope, I can tell a whole lot about it. I'm looking at the shape of it, the size of the sample. I'm looking at the color of the blood. So everything tells me something. But you can imagine someone with poor nutrition, the color of their blood may not be as rich as someone who is getting enough nutrition. So, but nutrition is what impacts cellular health. So that's one great thing about the Seacret program is that it kind of covers all those bases. It helps with the digestive system. It helps us to receive the nutrition in our foods. And a lot of people out there, they think that they're eating healthy, like everyone loves to eat chicken. That's a prime example. Boy, I got to be healthy because I'm eating chicken. Chicken is low in fat. We know that. Zero carbs, low in fat. But where's the real nutritional value? And your body needs a range of nutrition every day. That's why even if you look at your Seacret protein shake, there's all these different constituents in it. Well, there's a reason why there's all these different constituents in it. It's because those are the things that your body needs. Not every 3 days a week, every third day, not every sixth day, every day your body needs nutrition. And when we're not getting the proper nutrition, that is the breakdown of our physiology. So this is what we need to take a look at, because I refuse to discuss carbs, calories, fat grams, anything like that with my clients. We're going to discuss nutrition, and you're going to learn how to put value on the food that you intake. So with that being said, it's got to make sense. Why, like every time I sit down to a plate of food, I know what it's doing for my body, good, bad, or indifferent. And I'm a realist about it. And I've discussed this in all my videos, which I would like to reference. If you didn't see part 1, make sure Carrie sends you over a part 1, or somehow you get a hold of it, because everything is going to kind of flow in together. I'm coaching people all over the world with different lifestyles, different eating habits, different working habits, different habits, period. So I have to be able to overcome objectives of people and say, well, instead of doing this, maybe we could do this. And then I've got 90 days to get someone's health from their point A to their point B. And that's not a long period of time. I mean, some people go to their regular allopathic physician for 30, 40 years and don't get the results. So 90 days is pretty good. So why it's 90 days is because the red blood cells change up once every 90 days. So that's when we do the retest on the blood. And we can see how your nutrition and how your supplements have impacted you. Once people start detoxing, all kinds of stuff starts coming out of the connective tissue, the fat cells. So there's stuff that we probably didn't see the first time that we're going to see the second time. But we will clearly see how the things that you're doing are impacting you. And it's so funny because, like, I will have people say, well, I've been eating crappy lately, and I'm just going to wait to send my blood into you. Well, no shot of that, because my microscope sees what you were doing 35 years ago. It's going to see what you were doing 10 years ago. So it's really funny when people think that this week counted a whole bunch, right? So where your blood is at right now is the makeup of everything that's ever happened to you in your life. So if you had an accident 20 years ago you haven't healed from, a trauma, whatever, and we all go through stuff. We're all human, okay? So when we eat foods that encourage whatever our physiology is going through, that helps our supplements to work better. So it helps your enzymes to work better. It helps your recovery to work better. It helps your alkaline boosters. So it makes sense. But people also have to be able to visualize themselves doing these healthy things, okay? And so you have to start looking at your pantry differently, looking at the grocery store differently, and looking at the food you take in differently. So one of the things that I think I ended off, and there was so much to talk about last time. I know we went over snacks and protein options and all kinds of stuff. And I want to troubleshoot, because people are going to eat snacks, okay? And once again, I'm a realist. People are going to want something sweet sometimes, even if they're off sugar. People are going to want substitutes for things. And that's what this program that Carrie and I are doing is about a lot, is learning how to grab something different that will satiate you in the same way. Something that has value that's going to satiate you, but yet add to your overall health picture. So that's the important thing. And when we learn how to do that, that's when we've really mastered eating healthy. Okay. So the last video that I did, I kind of talked about this seaweed salad, and I've made it for years, but it was taking the aramay seaweed, putting olive oil in it, shredded carrot, celery. But the one important thing that I forgot to mention in the last video is the most important ingredient, which is nama shoyu. And I don't know how many people out there have heard of nama shoyu, but it's raw soy sauce. So when I make a recipe, every constituent in it is healthy. It's going to give my physiology a benefit, okay? That's why I never break down. That's why I've never been in a hospital. That's why, because I have this endless arsenal of tools that I use that's not necessary ever, and it's never going to be necessary. So in any event, the nama shoyu is a fabulous has a great taste to it. So what it is, raw soy sauce. And you can find it at your Asian grocery stores. You can find it, you know, strange places, you know, maybe a gourmet grocery, whatever. But it's like when you eat regular soy sauce, it's just too salty. You know, for anybody, even if you like salt, it's really, really salty. And the namashoyu is like soy sauce light, where it's very smooth. It doesn't have too much salt to the taste, and it's really great. So you can pour this into your seaweed salad, and because it is raw, meaning it hasn't been cooked or processed over 117 degrees, it still has its nutritional benefit. And this is a great, great, you know, we're getting into, you know, marinating our food season, you know, because it's grill season. So there were a couple of things that I know that Carrie wanted to ask me some different questions, and we wanted to touch on some different topics. And she called me this morning, and I'm like, perfect timing to discuss strokes and heart attacks.
Yeah.
Perfect time of the year.
Can we just mention this is May is Stroke Awareness Month? That is big. It is a silent killer. It is probably one of the fourth leading top 3 or 5 leading causes of death, stroke. So this awareness is what I wanted to bring forward. So if you can help us with that preventative, heart healthy understanding, that's awesome. Thank you.
Okay, so what strokes and heart attacks are, and not every heart attack, but we'll start with strokes first. It's a lack of brain specific minerals.
Wow.
Okay. So what happens is this time of year, even myself, I'm out hiking and biking and swimming and doing all kinds of cool stuff like that, right? But every time you sweat, whether it's in a gym or whether it's outside or whether it's mowing the grass, and a lot of people stayed in all winter, and now this time of year is the first time they're coming out.
Right.
And every time you sweat out all of your minerals. And the important ones, the ones that work on your brain, the ones that work on your fingers, the ones that help you to speak, the ones that help you to fold your hands, what have you, you're sweating out all of your minerals. So your mineral content is going to be lower. Where people get in trouble is when they don't replace their minerals, okay? When they're not taking a protein shake and greens, when they're not alkalizing their physiology with a recovery or an alkaline booster, that's when people get in trouble. Okay. This is why people have strokes and heart attacks. Part of the reason for cardiomyopathy is lack of selenium. I mean, every cardiomyopathy, the patients have lack of selenium, for example. Okay. So there are so many minerals that we need. We need, you know, 102 minerals a day. We need, you know, we talk about the antioxidants, the vitamins. We need this stuff every day. And so everything that we're getting from Seacret, the beauty of it is that this is stuff that we're going to use for life. This isn't, we're not on like some temporary program where, well, I want to drop some weight, and then, you know, a year from now, you know, not be in any better health, have lost some weight, and then okay, well, what about my health problems? We're tackling both. We're getting you out of the danger zone for incurring a stroke or a heart attack.
Right.
We're, you know, getting people to, you know, stabilize and balance their weight. We're getting people to receive, their bodies to receive nutrition. So not only can we get better from whatever it is that's ailing us, but we can be better than we were 20 years ago. I walked into a party last night where my friends hadn't seen me in about 3 years. They said, Laura, you look 20 years younger than the last time we saw you. And you know what? I know I did, because I was going through a trauma back then. So, you know, stress is a killer. But I will always go back to, and why nothing will ever get me or flatten me is because I will always go back to my arsenal. I have a fierce arsenal of things. So, you know, and the Seacret nutrition is the biggest part of that. Okay. So how I eat and the foods that I rely on, what they're do is they are aiding in my overall health picture. They are aiding in me never getting sick in my future. They are aiding in correcting things in my physiology and not feeding into my toxins. So, and that's the point, that a lot of people don't think about, is that they're eating foods that feed into their toxins. You don't want to do that. You don't want your toxins imploding. You want to be going in the opposite direction. You know, so the foods that you eat can really encourage that. So last week I had gone into or last you know, session part, you know, I went into We kind of went over snacks and different values, different things. But one of the things is that, people are doing a lot of baking and a lot of sweet foods in the summer. People are going to graduation parties like I did last night, and um, they're going to, 4th of July, Memorial Day, Labor Day. So it's not just Christmas and Thanksgiving where sweets are opposing us.
Right.
And so we kind of like to cover the sweet end of things, and you're not missing out on anything when you're not using white flour and sugar, the white devils. You're not missing out on anything. I mean, when we take raw agave, which I discuss a lot, when we take raw agave nectar, it's 12 times sweeter than sugar. You'll never miss the taste of sugar. You should never have a problem, and where I want to feed everybody's arsenal so hard, just like mine is, you would never have a problem walking up to your pantry and throwing out that bag of sugar, throwing out that bag of white flour, because the alternatives are so delicious. You won't even ever think about, wow, what do I do if I don't have sugar? How do I really make this taste good if I don't have that white devil? Well, raw agave nectar sure does the trick, and it's perfect for baking. Okay. And it's nothing that's going to aid in the harm of your physiology, which is really important. So there's some really cool recipes and some things that I really want to touch on as far as kind of like, fixing that sweet tooth. I know last week I kind of suggested, learning how to make, and there's like 5,000 YouTube videos on this, but learning how to make avocado chocolate pudding, okay, with raw cacao. And as long as you're making it with raw cacao, your raw agave nectar, your Himalayan salt, your vanilla bean paste, it's delicious. And I teach a lot of my moms how to make that recipe because they have trouble this day and age getting greens into their kids. The taste bud is different, but the taste bud of the mother is often different too. So, avocado, if you've never Googled nutritional benefits of avocado, please do, because it is like the healthiest food on the planet. And why it's the basis of all raw foods is because you can make so many versatile dishes without it. Avocados aren't just for when you're in the mood for guacamole. It's no. You can take that food and you can make so much out of it. Okay. And including, I mean, it's my favorite. So when you're making your raw chocolate avocado pudding, which it tastes 100 times better than processed Jello chocolate pudding. I will tell you that. That becomes like, ugh, gross after you make this. So you can also take parchment paper, and sometimes what I do is I take a spoon and I take the pudding and I make little hearts on the parchment paper, and then I freeze it. And now I have chocolate hearts. You can put a drop of peppermint oil into your raw avocado pudding, and then you can make your mint chocolate hearts. And it's the same thing. Doesn't take any longer to make it healthier. Doesn't take any longer to make any of these recipes. Another thing too, everybody, especially for summertime, we love watermelon. We love the taste of watermelon. Something I went through the last time was prickly pear cactus juice. 5 of them are about $1.29 at the Mexican grocery store. If you have access to that in your area, this is worth the investment because a prickly pear cactus actually has more minerals than an avocado.
And the other benefits?
Oh, very mineral rich. I mean, it is endless. The prickly pear cactus, actually, in my point of view, it has all the same nutritional benefits of an avocado, but it's a little higher in minerals, but it's not as versatile of a food as an avocado. So you just pop 5 of peel them, pop 5 of them in your blender. You add your raw agave or honey, if you so choose, if that's what you have on hand, and then a little bit of Himalayan salt and water, and you blend it up, and you have the most delicious beverage, and it just tastes like a really good watermelon juice, so kids love it. And prickly pear cactus is the most blood sugar stabilizing food on the planet.
Thank you. So the diabetics, they need this.
You're getting everything with it.
Yeah.
And it's very inexpensive to make, and the benefits are endless. So that's a really good thing. So one of the two things that I wanted to kind of discuss, okay, and I want to give recipes for, and I've got a recipe which Carrie is somehow going to get these recipes in YouTube that I'm going to forward to her. One of the things that I am in the process of learning how to perfect, okay, is I use something called Jaggery Powder, and I don't know how many of you have heard of Jaggery Powder.
Uh-uh.
Jaggery,
How do you spell it?
Jaggery. And
JJ, say it again.
yeah, Jaggery.
Wow. Okay, go for it. What's that?
And jaggery is very popular in India and Asia. They use it to sweeten foods. And where it comes, it's like a sap that comes from coconut trees.
Oh,
It has endless nutritional benefits. It's super, super high in minerals and iron. Super high. It's great for your metabolism. It's a great blood cleanser, but yet it's sweetening your foods. And see, a lot of people don't know how great they can make their foods taste with things that are giving you tons of nutritional benefit. Man, when your body is, and I say it every time, but when you're really getting great nutrition in your body, you just, it is the highest vibration
yeah.
you can get to, you know. And then with the Seacret products, I mean, we have the best access to everything right here. So in any event, back to the Jaggery Powder. Jaggery Powder is super, super high in nutrition, great for your metabolism, great for your hormones. I mean, it's good for so many different things. And one of the things that I have missed for years, and there was a co-op that I used to get them from, was that they used to make protein balls. And if I was in a hurry for breakfast in the morning, it was a shake and a protein ball, right?
Mhm.
I could grab them real quick and eat them. So we're gonna we're going to actually thoroughly go through this, but you can use your Seacret shake and some Jaggery powder and a few other ingredients and make some real healthy protein balls. So you're really packing that nutrition. And, you know, I'm going to forward um, a great video that I like, and then you can substitute whatever they're saying for, you know, the Seacret protein shake, for the, you know, the raw. You can include the raw agave. You know, if you need to, you probably won't with the Jaggery powder,
Mm.
but it's a great thing to make. You know, you can make them, refrigerate them, and then you can just pop protein balls first thing in the morning. You know, and you're just really over the top getting a lot of nutrition.
What are your favorite? Throw a quick recipe, easy peasy on a protein ball. I know they're easy to make, but what's your favorite?
Well, well, that's what I'm trying to perfect right now. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to put we're going to go over that later, but we're going to put a recipe for protein balls wherever you're posting the recipes. Okay. So we're going to do that.
Okay.
And then, you know, what we're going to do is we're going to, where everybody's taste buds are different. You might want to do a little more, little less, or a little more Jaggery, little more protein shake, that kind of thing. But that's basically what it is, you
Mhm.
know. And the Jaggery's, you know, pretty sticky. It's a powder, but it's pretty sticky. So you kind of roll these together, and then you're going to want to refrigerate your protein balls.
Okay.
You know, but another reason why I kind of discuss these things is because everybody's taste buds are someplace different.
Mhm.
You know, if you don't like one recipe, you might have to work with it. Maybe it didn't turn out great the first time. People get so frustrated when things don't turn out right the first time, or they didn't perfect it. If that's how I was, I wouldn't be eating quinoa to this day, because I sucked at making it for the first. You know, so sometimes you have to, you know, play with your supplement program, play with your ingredients to get it to where you like it. And it's not really that hard. It's just maybe trying something a couple of times. You
Mhm.
know, maybe when you make your prickly pear cactus juice, you might want to add a little more raw agave or a little less. Maybe somebody thinks it's too sweet the way I like it. Who knows? Just adjust it. But the option isn't to not do it.
Right.
No, it's like, you know, it's like with your supplements. If you really need to be taking 15 recovery and you're only taking 5, and you weren't getting the benefit that you thought you would, then up your recovery. You know, it's the same way with your food. You're playing with it. Food is science, just like your supplements and everything else. It's science. So, you know, sometimes we have to play with things. Okay. So now I want to discuss a very serious subject for this time of year. Cake. So Cake is something that a lot of people are, they're used to making their famous cakes. They're used to making things a certain way. Okay. And what people don't realize is, especially this day and age, for the last, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, even Walmart has, this brand of raw agave for cheapest. They have almond flour and coconut flour and substitutes with flour that you can use when you make cakes. Okay. So one of the things that I wanted to discuss, and we'll get this recipe to everybody out there. Okay. Um, and there's a particular guy that has my favorite recipe for this, but it is a polenta lemon cake. Okay. And I'm not a big fan of eating polenta all the time, but two-thirds of the world eat polenta.
Yep.
Polenta is gluten free. Okay. It's not sugar free because it's cornmeal, but it is gluten free. Okay. So, what you can do to make delicious cakes, okay, and you can make this cake like several different ways. You can use half almond flour, half polenta, and you still have nutritional benefit. I mean, corn is loaded with fiber, so you're still getting nutritional benefit from your cake. This is the most delicious cake. You're grating lemon in it, you're using your raw agave. You do have to use a little bit of baking powder and baking soda to make your cake rise, but these are options that you have in making cake, and the polenta lemon cake is outstanding. Okay. And I'm not eating all that white flour. I'm actually getting nutritional benefit. White flour, the white devil, feeds into toxins, any kind of toxin. It is crippling to people. Okay. It feeds into bacterias in your body. It glubs up in your joints. It creates arthritic responses in your body. So arthritis can be crippling. So people that have arthritis, or they have joint problems, or they ache, anywhere, you have no business having white flour or sugar. No business. So, and what does it do for your physiology? People just think, oh, I just had one little piece of cake. Well, okay, here's an alternative to where you don't have to try to justify it to yourself, and you can actually get nutrition from your cake. Okay. And you can make, no problem, icing from raw agave nectar. I would just take a little bit of raw, or excuse me, almond milk. Okay. And almond milk thickens as it sits. Okay. Because we know that, because we can make almond milk into a pudding, chia seed pudding. You can put a few chia seeds in the almond milk, add some raw agave nectar, and that's a fabulous icing. You can take chickpeas and make whipped cream out of chickpeas. And it's just delicious. And what are you getting? You're getting protein. You're drinking that almond milk. What are you getting? Protein. The chia seeds help to thicken things up because they expand. So, you could do that, work with that a little bit.
Can
Use
you go
that.
back? Can you go back to what you just said about chickpeas and whipped cream?
Oh, yeah. You can make a
Help me
delicious.
understand this one. Bring that one up.
Oh, yeah. You can make delicious whipped cream out of chickpeas. And folks, YouTube is your friend. Okay.
Okay.
Because YouTube, you've got hundreds and thousands of people on there making different versions of the same recipe. So you can just go on YouTube and you type in whipped cream from chickpeas. You'll find
Okay.
the recipe that sounds good to you, and you make it.
Who
You can add vanilla extract or vanilla bean paste, which has a lot of nutritional benefit to it. And you can add that vanilla bean paste to your whipped cream, to your icings, that kind of thing. So, if and I spent a lot of time kind of discussing kitchen gadgets last time. So one of the things with a lemon polenta cake that you do is you take a microplane and you grate your lemon into it. If you really wanted to do a banana polenta cake, you could do that.
Ooh.
You could do orange if you so choose. You can put in medjool dates, which are loaded with magnesium and potassium. 12 times sweeter than sugar. It's so sweet. We use it. Raw foodists have the greatest recipes. Freezing bananas, sprinkling with raw cacao, drizzle a little bit of raw agave and some cinnamon on them. You've got, a great banana dessert. You know, you can make your banana boats differently if you know how to do this stuff. But one of the things that I really want to do is facilitate thought in everyone's mind. Because what's easy for me to be doing over here may be a little more difficult for you, depending on the area of the country you live in, the availability of product, that sort of thing. So I want to facilitate your thoughts. And I want you to go in the grocery store and look at things differently. Like I had somebody call me this week and say, well, I just noticed there was a this in here. No, I said, it's not that you just noticed it. It's been there forever. Your eye is seeing differently.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want for everybody, is for their eye to see differently. And I want them to walk down the food aisles and look for different things than they've ever looked at before. I mean, let's face it, we all have a lot on our minds. So, you know, we don't always think to look for stuff. So that's why I'm here to help. That's why when I coach you, I will give you endless options to do things. You know, Laura, I have a problem with this, or 4 o'clock during my afternoon, I'm craving this. Usually when we're craving sweets, it means that we need some protein. Okay. And protein will satiate you. So I always tell people, if you've got, you know, a big sweet tooth, eat something like an egg, or eat something that has protein in it, hummus, eat that first. And then if you're still craving sweets after that, then let's have a healthy dessert or a healthy option. But when you do, if you eat the protein first, then when you go to the sweet thing, you won't eat as much.
Right.
You know, so that's the cool thing. A lot of times you just not get enough protein. So those are some of the hints. Those are some of the options that I want to give people. But I want you to start looking. Like if I go to make a lemon polenta cake, it's not going to take me a bit longer than making a regular cake. Not a bit. But the benefits that I get, and there are a lot of health benefits in that cake, you know, and the benefits that I get are very nice. And I don't have to worry about feeding into chronic disease in my physiology. That's the important thing.
Very important. Very important. Wow, you've given us so many great hints. I don't know if you guys are scratching notes, but I am like crazy. And I know we're going to get these recipes put when I share the video, we'll have the PDF of the recipes attached. So
Yeah. And one other thing I want to mention too, Carrie, is that one thing that's really important for you to have is like some wax paper or parchment paper, because when you're making raw desserts or healthier desserts, a lot of times they stick.
yeah.
You know, so you want to have your spring form pans, you want to have your parchment papers, cut right wax paper, things like, even when you're making the protein balls, you're going to need to set them on some parchment paper or wax paper so they don't stick and they can congeal properly. You
Mm-hmm.
know, but upping your kitchen gadgets is where it's at, because if you've got the kitchen like a pineapple core, you know, like, I mean, you can buy a regular pineapple, an entire pineapple, for $1.99 that's fresh and sweet. Or you can go grab the kind that's in the plastic for $5 for 6 pieces, you know? So pineapple core, if you have one on hand, it's going to be real helpful. And you could even make a pineapple polenta cake. That's another thing. You know, where are your taste buds? What kind of tastes good to you? And I want to help facilitate that. But when you have the kitchen gadgets in your kitchen, you'll be more likely to do it than
Yeah.
you will if you don't.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've heard this. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. So, and it circles back a little bit to where you've already kind of encompassed this, but I've heard that health begins in the gut, and it's so important for us to put the right stuff in the gut and not the wrong stuff. So, and I want your take on that. And then, how does your work, what you do through the microscope, show the evidence of good nutrition? Can you kind of talk about what that looks like? You started there, about the cilia and the halo and stuff, but I'd like for you to help us understand how we can determine, our effectiveness with our supplementation, being as what you see it.
Oh, and how it just massively strengthens our physiology. You know, and I find that, you know, that's a big point of contention when I do most people's blood, is they never got the right nutrition all the way along. So, okay, what was the first question that you wanted me to answer?
Does health begin in the gut? Do you believe it
Yeah,
begins
in the
in the
gut.
gut?
Okay, so yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. So it's really interesting because I've kind of engaged in colon hydrotherapy for, 17, 18 years, that kind of thing. And I don't get it all the time because I don't think that you should all the time, because colon hydrotherapy depletes you, not depletes, but it will get rid of the bad bacteria, but also you lose a lot of good stuff, and you can lose minerals and that kind of thing too. So I love colon hydrotherapy. It's a great practice, but there is a right time and place for it, and it's different for everybody. Okay. And that's another reason why we check the blood. We see what you're ready for. So literally, okay, sugar, flour, unfriendly carbohydrates, okay, they can contribute to yeast being in the gut, okay, and it literally will build a coral reef in your small intestines.
Yikes.
Right. So when that coral reef is built, then the bacteria just keeps multiplying, multiplying, multiplying. Just because you're not addressing your internalized bacteria doesn't mean that they're not there. Doesn't mean they're not going to cause you a problem one time. One of the reasons why we do what we do is because in hindsight, we want to prepare ourselves so we don't get that real dangerous end result. Mm-hmm. And so when we're taking in toxins every day. And if you think you're not, don't kid yourself. We take in toxins every day, which accrues acidity in our physiology. So what are we doing to remove those and rid those from our bodies every day? That's why the recovery is such a powerful product. Okay. You have to pull toxins, period. You're not going to take some supplements, some herbs, some pills, some whatever, and then some magic fairy just comes along and rids you of your toxin. I don't know what people really think, like how they get rid of toxins, okay? But they're either going to come out of your skin, your eyes, you're going to puke them out, you're going to poop them out. I mean, they got to get out, and they will get out, okay? So with that being said, you have to pull those toxins, period. That's how they come out. And if your system isn't aligned or set up for toxin removal, because we've eaten too many of these foods, we're not alkalizing, we're not doing, the best job with our physiology that we can, that's where we run into problems. Okay. So you have to be able to position your body to receive nutrition and expel toxins. And that's how you get into good health. And yes, it starts with the health in your gut, and the health. It's like one of the things that's been correlated with a lot of dentists over the last 8 or 9 years that I've kind of noticed. I work with a lot of dentists, and they've started correlating over the last 7 or 8 years how acidity affects dental health. Because the acidity in our gut goes to the saliva in our mouth, right? It goes from the gut to the mouth. So people wonder why they have tooth issues, gum issues, sinus issues. I mean, it all goes upward and hits everything all along the way. Your kidneys, your heart, your liver, your hormones. I mean, it eats away at the hormones. So that's why we don't want to eat the white devil, because it really contributes to those bacteria and the yeast and everything in our physiology. And it's like an endless discussion for me, because even when I discuss the blood with my colleagues, when we're looking at the blood this day and age, we're seeing different things than we did 10 years ago and 15 years ago and 20 years ago. Wow. And it is the American diet. So, if any of you, if I'm coaching you, if I can help any of you, and you can say, hey, Laura, I really like this particular food or beverage, but I know it's harming me, I will give you options. That's how I got away from bad food 25 years ago and 20 years ago, because I figured out the options. Yeah. And I see how your nutrition affects your blood under the microscope, and that's why we retest the blood every 90 days. I'm looking at it then. I'm looking to see how that nutrition has improved your overall physical health. So, we have got to stay away from these things. And if anything, anyone I can help them, look for the alternatives and see where they could be improving their diet. I mean, it's hard. A lot of people work a lot of hours. They don't feel like doing certain things because they're just not there yet with their health. When you are healthier, you don't ever say, I don't feel like doing it. You say, I feel like doing it. That's what I want for every one of you to be.
Yeah, vitality is a beautiful thing. As you're aging, to age with grace and vitality, I think is probably everybody hopes for that, right?
Yes.
I mean, nobody wants to feel.
We want to exist. We want to live.
Exactly. And living to the fullest of our ability and improving our nutrition along the way. So thank you so much for this great input. And now let me, in case people want to go to you for more professional advice, what is your website, or do you want me to put your phone number in the chat?
Okay, well, my website is myname.com, laurabelg.com. If you'd like to speak to me, the best way to get a hold of me is just to shoot me a text on my 917-449-1060. But I would strongly encourage anyone out there who hasn't gotten their blood done, let's get your blood in the microscope. Let's see what's coming up. Let's avoid ever getting to that dangerous point in your life. And let's improve your health. Let's make you feel better.
I think I typed it wrong. There we go. Yeah, it is about feeling better. You've given us so many great hints over the last year. We've been working together. Like, we don't do the coffee anymore. If we do if we go have a cup of coffee, it's out. It's not in our house. I mean, typically we don't even buy it. Sometimes we'll get decaf, but most of the time we use the Dandy blend. So we found an alternative to the incredibly acidifying coffee, because it's addictive, you know. And so now it's nice that we have something that's an alternative with the Dandy blend. But you know, we spoke briefly about our nutritional supplements, so I just want to highlight them again so people can see simple ways to put those biohacks into your kitchen, or biohacks and life snack hacks. With those protein balls that we were talking about, it's excellent with our protein shake, complete amino acid profile. Some people actually make raw dehydrated crackers with the greens and different seasonings. Do you have a dehydrator?
Oh, I've got 12 of them.
Yeah, so that's another fun one. These little green snack crackers. They're seasoned very savory with the greens in them. They're fun. And then, of course, even if you just make a shake and greens together, or you want to put in your extra wonderful superfoods that Laura talked about, that's all good to fill in the nutritional gaps. And then, of course, we do our boosters at night for helping us reduce that extra acidity and balance out our minerals, right? Restorative minerals are in that booster, right, Laura? So we
Yeah, especially like now, summer's here. We got to pound the minerals. Ah,
yeah, because you said what we sweat out, right?
yes, yes.
Yeah, that's a powerful product. And then, of course, all day long, we put our recovery in. This is probably one of the probably one of the most powerful nutritional breakthroughs in our lifetime. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah.
You
I,
know,
I agree with everything about this program.
cleaning the blood up with that one. So, from your perspective, do you have any
100%
parting
of
words?
the time. You
Sorry,
know,
say that again.
I'm so sorry, Carrie.
We're talking over each other. I wanted to just say how you want to, if you were going to wrap this up, because we, in the essence of time, want to let people get on with their Saturday. How would you give everybody, like, you know, there's hope? I mean, what are some parting words for people who are really challenged in the nutritional avenue of really kind of getting that balance? What would you say for us to have some hope that there is a possibility that we can get our life back in order nutritionally?
Oh, yeah. Well, the first thing we have to do is we have to find out where you're flawed, and that's where my coaching, the blood comes in and everything like that. So we find out where you're flawed, and then we eat foods that encourage that nutrition. Okay. So that's the first place. But I will tell you that I have looked at the blood of people who have done all kinds of things, all kinds of supplements. I get physicians that, have all kinds of different issues that they want me to take a look at under the microscope. So I will tell you this, though, 100% of the time that someone is on Seacret nutrition, their blood is improving, period. 100%. You can't take too much. You can't overdo it. You can't nothing. 100% of the time, when I put someone's blood under the microscope and they've taken this nutrition for 90 days, the blood is 100% of the time going to be better. Okay. Now, the other work that you put in, because these products are going to do a lot for you, even if you don't do anything else but take these products, you're still going to benefit. Okay. But when eat a healthy diet, or you're exercising, or you're doing some things on your behalf to encourage your situation, of course, you're going to just speed ahead even faster. So, without a question, if you're, maybe not taking enough recovery, maybe only not drinking your protein shake as often as you can, you can think about upping those things. And that's really a helper. But I just can't say enough good things about these products, because I don't care how someone's feeling. It's all in the blood, period.
It is. Thank you so much for this great insight today, guys. Did you enjoy this? I put a note in the chat and I asked if anybody had any questions, and I haven't seen anybody pop a question out for you. So I guess that means you're very comprehensive with your data and content here, which we appreciate for sure. I took a couple of pages of notes, guys, and I'm excited to get the PDF of the recipes. So that'll be going with the video when you get the link, and we'll try to keep them together for you. But if you miss one or the other, just reach out to me and I'll make sure you get them. But thank you so much, Laura, for taking the time. You look gorgeous. I love being in your kitchen, and your professional expertise is always appreciated and respected. And guys, I think she said it best. She said it. 100% of the time, she sees improvement in people's blood when they use this nutrition. You can't go wrong with something that's that clean and that effective and absorbable for the body to really utilize it. So we're grateful that we have such world-class nutrition, at the same time world-class people to help us promote the efficacy of it. And I want to thank everybody for taking the time today, especially you, Laura. Until next time, everybody have a great afternoon. Thank you for joining us.